What's up? We're the Magic Minds, and we got all our co-hosts today for our third episode. We got Caleb.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back.
We got Jack.
Hey, guys.
Evan.
Hello.
Yeah, so the full crew today, like usual. As you know, if you watched our last episode, we spun the wheel and we got, much to our dismay, group hug. So, as always, we got the deck tech segment where we each built a group hug deck. And then after that, we'll be doing our custom cards. We got some pretty sweet ones today. And then, as usual, we're going to crack some packs. So, yeah, the normal show today. So, I mean, I don't really got anything else to say. So, without further ado, let's get into the deck techs.
Okay, so I'll go first. Starting us off with my group hug commander today. It was very tough, but I made Rubinia Soulsinger, which is 2 green, white, blue for a legendary creature fairy. It is a 2/3, and you may choose not to untap Rubinia Soulslinger during your untap step, and you can tap it to gain control of target creature for as long as you control Rubinia, and Rubinia remains tapped. So,
wait, does that mean you can just kind of like it's kind of like a gain control of a creature spell on a commander, but you can kind of switch it around?
Yeah, and you can so it's as long as Rubinia stays tapped, and you can choose to not untap it. So obviously pretty good. And so making a group hug for this deck was kind of tough. Obviously, when you think, after you hear this commander, you're not really going to be thinking Rubinia. So, group hug. So, but I made it work. So, I split it up into 4 phases. Phase 1 is group hug, make people happy. So, you're just trying to make people happy with you at the start of the game. And, yeah. So, I have one of the best cards for that is Magus of the Vineyard. It is green, 1 green for a 1/1 creature human wizard. At the beginning of each player's pre-combat main phase, add green to that player's mana pool. So it's everybody, so everybody's just getting extra mana. Obviously, when you do that, people are going to like you. They're going to be less prone to attacking you early game because this deck's a bit slow. So you want to make people happy early game. Mm-hmm. I also have Vision.
Also,
yeah.
It's like a little bit better for you than your opponents because not all your opponents are going to be able to use green. So like you're making them happy, but still giving yourself a better bonus at the same time.
Yeah.
Low-key, it's not as good for them. I also have Vision Schemes, which is blue and 1 for an instant. Each player draws 2 cards. This one, it's gonna be good for everyone, but that's fine. It's just early game card draw for everyone. And you, which is okay, because then you're digging into it digs up the best cards in your deck, and it digs up bombs for opponents, which, as you'll find out later, is something this deck really tries to do. Okay, so phase 2 is building up a wall. So here we got our first spotlight card, Orzhov Advocus. It is white and 2 for a 1/4. Creature human advisor. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature they control. If a player does, creatures that player control can't attack you or a planeswalker you control until your next turn. So this is preventing people from attacking you, which is basically what phase 2 is about, building up a wall. It's not exactly a wall, but it's preventing you from people from attacking you while giving them +1/+1 counters, which will make better creatures to steal with Rubinia.
Yeah, that card seems good all around.
Yeah. It's good for the deck. I agree.
So I also am running Ghostly Prison, which is 2 and a white for an enchantment. Creatures can't attack unless their controller pays 2 for each creature he or she controls that's attacking you. kind of a white staple, but that's like the definition of building up a wall. And I also have
Yeah.
propaganda, which is the exact same thing, but in blue. 2 and a blue for creatures can't attack you unless their controllers pay 2 for each creature he or she controls that is attacking you. So, phase 2, you're just building up a wall, making it so it's going to be hard for people to get through, so you're not going to be taking that much damage. So, phase 3 is you're group hugging, more group hugging, and you're helping people to cast their bombs. So here we got another spotlight cards. Braid's Conjurer Adapt. 2 blue for a legendary creature, human wizard. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may put an artifact, creature, or land from his or her hand onto play. So you're trying to get people to play bombs, because for one, you've built up such a big wall they can't attack you with them, and you're going to be stealing them with Rubinia. So it's a win-win for you. This Braids is usually used as a commander, but it's a very good in a group hug deck when it's outside of your commander too. So another spotlight card is
Caleb.
Yeah.
Do you have any like big bombs to cast with Braids?
That's
or,
what I was
like,
going to ask.
Are your opponents going to get more better things than you are?
They might get more better things than me because there are bombs in this deck, but not like huge creatures. But that's okay with me because the point of it is to get them to cast their bombs so you can steal them, and maybe you'll be able to play a shapeshifter that'll copy or steal one of their things. So I have some bombs that I can play with it, but it's more about them getting their bombs out. And then I also have Hunted Wumpus, which is 3 and a blue, or in a green, also a spotlight card, for a creature beast. When Hunted Wumpus enters the battlefield, each other player may put a creature card from their hand onto the battlefield. And it's a 6/6. So, again, it's just helping other people cast their bombs early so you can steal them and so they can start bashing other people pretty early. Phase 4 is this is late game. Everyone, you've helped everyone cast their bombs. You got a big wall up. Now it's time to start stealing and or copying your opponent's bombs. So I have Progenitor Mimic is one of the best for this. It is 4 green-blue for creature shapeshifter. You may have Progenitor Mimic enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it has, at the beginning of your upkeep, if this creature isn't a token, create a token that's a copy of this creature. So you copy a bomb with it, and then you keep copying that bomb, so you're going to get tons of token copies of your opponent's bombs, which is really, really good, because hopefully they're going to be playing some big bombs. I also have Control
that seems
Magic.
Cool.
Yeah, which is
and Control Magic is also a classic.
2 blue for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature, you control enchanted creature. So it's a 4 mana steal a creature. Very, very good. Yeah. I feel like that basically wraps up my deck tech. It was hard to make because I wouldn't say Rubinia is a group hug commander, but I feel like it's a very powerful deck. And just like the things you can do with helping people cast their bombs and then stealing them, I feel like is really fun.
Yeah,
Jack,
it seems cool. I think you did a good job of making it powerful and also group hug. Because I'm not sure if group hug is the most powerful theme out there in EDH, but
yeah. Okay, Jack, you're up.
Yeah. So the commander I made for this episode was Zedru the Great-Hearted, and it's 1 red, white, blue. So 4 mana total for a 2/4 legendary creature Minotaur Monk. And it says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you gain X life, at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life and draw X cards where X is the number of permanents you own that your opponents control. And then you can pay red, white, blue. Target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. So basically, what I want to do with this deck is have my opponents have my permanents, so I can gain life and draw cards at my upkeep. So I can use cards like Harmless Offering, which is one of my spotlight cards. And so Harmless Offering is 2 and a red for a sorcery. Target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. This is really good because if you need your opponents to have your permanents, you can play this and they gain control of permanent you control, and it's a win for you and maybe a win for them, but I guess it's more a win for me because you're drawing more cards and gaining more life at your upkeep. And
Wait,
then
is Harmless Offering an instant or a sorcery?
it's a sorcery.
That's too bad. Because honestly, it would be really nice if it was an instant, because then you could like give somebody something before your upkeep and then like get some more cards.
Yeah.
And then you could also like make sure they can't use it, but it still seems pretty good.
Yeah, it still seems great.
Yeah. And then another spotlight card is Alhalmaret's Archive. This is probably one of the best cards in the deck, if not the best card in the deck. So it's 5 mana, 5 colorless for a legendary artifact. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. If you draw a card, except the first one you draw in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. This card is really good, especially if you have it out when Zedra's out. When you're gaining life, you gain twice that much life. So you're keeping up with your life, and you're drawing an extra card in your draw step.
Yeah, Alhamlet's Archive is kind of just a powerhouse in any deck.
That's especially in Zedru. Like you would think that card would, like, with how synergistic it would be, would be made for like Zedru. Yeah, that's so good in your deck.
Yeah, and then another one of my spotlight cards is Venser's Journal. Again, it's 5 colorless mana for an artifact. It says you have no maximum hand size. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. And since I'm going to be drawing cards with Zedru, this card is really good because I'm gaining even more life. And with the addition of I have no maximum hand size, keeping those cards that I draw with Zedru is even better. So, yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be discarding this deck, I'd say.
It's kind of funny because me and Jack's decks are like exact opposite. Mine's trying to steal opponents' bombs or their permanents, and Jack's giving them his permanents. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah. And another really good card for the deck is Bazaar Trader. It's 1 red for a 1/1 creature goblin, and you can tap it. Target player gains control of target artifact, creature, or land you control. And this card is really good because all it is just tap it, and they gain control of one of your artifacts, creatures, or lands. And that's pretty much everything except for enchantments. So that's really good. So on each of your turns, they're gaining control of your permanents. And then another very interesting card, and it's pretty good for the deck, is Vedalken Plotter. It's 2 and a blue for a 1/1 creature, Vedalken Wizard. And it says when Vedalken Plotter comes into play, exchange exchange control of target land you control and target land an opponent controls. And a land is a permanent, so you're exchanging permanents. Maybe like not the best because like you're exchanging, so you're not really getting anything. But since it's group hug, you're kind of giving them something. So
I feel like that could also be very good for you, and you could be gaining something if someone's like
Guy's Cradle.
if someone has like a command tower out, you could just exchange like a plains for a command tower, and that is a win for you.
Oh yeah, especially if they're
But-
not playing like white.
It's not totally group
And-
hug, but
It
Yeah.
allows them to control more of your permanents for your commander's trigger. So
Yeah, and you can also grab like, I don't know, like a myriad landscape while it's tapped before they activate it, and then yeah, it's usually cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so this card's pretty good. And then this is a win condition. Super good in the deck. It's Feldar Sovereign. So it's 4 white for a 4/6 creature cat beast. And it has vigilance and lifelink. And it says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 or more life, you win the game. And this card is just really good in Commander, like all along, because you start out with 40 life.
honestly, I don't see how that's not banned. Like,
Well,
In
it is
late
6
game deck-
mana.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
yeah,
But in
it's
And
that's
it's
Zidru,
upkeep.
expensive, and
it's upkeep, so you have to wait. Once you cast it, you have to wait until it comes back around to your upkeep.
yeah.
So you have to wait a whole rotation before you can
Mhm.
actually win the game with it.
yeah,
But
but
it's
Zidru,
still so good in a Zidru deck.
yeah, because Zidru costs 4, right? So that's 2 turns of you gaining life and drawing cards, mainly gaining life. So you're most likely, I don't know, how gonna have more than 40 life or 40 life by turn 6.
And
Maybe.
Feldar Sovereign is good in any group hug deck, because in group hug decks, people tend not to attack you, so you're
Mhm.
gonna have 40 life for a longer amount of time.
Yeah, that's in my
but,
deck, definitely.
Like
Mhm.
if you don't have it and like you might get unlucky and not get it, but it's still a really good card in
Yeah.
the deck and it should go in there.
It's
and then-
especially good in Zidru.
Yeah, and this isn't one of the best cards, but it's just good in a group HUD deck, is Cami of the Crescent Moon. And it's blue for a 1/3 legendary creature spirit. And it says at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Yeah, so it's just good. They're drawing an additional card for everybody. It helps everybody. So yeah, it's a group hug deck. So I
Yeah.
put that in there. And I believe that wraps up my deck pretty much for me. So on to Evan, I guess.
Yeah, that deck seems cool. And people like, it's not like always a group hug deck. It just incidentally falls into the category of group hug, because I've seen like don't really consider themselves a group hug. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, Zaydu just incidentally does that, and then I still get value off of it. But sometimes, I'm just curious, Jack, did you put any like permanents that are like not helpful for your opponents? Like I know that it is a group hug deck, but is there any like stuff that hurts them in there that you can give them?
Well, I didn't put them down as key cards for the deck, but like I don't know if this helps someone. It could not. Like Jace's Archivist, which is 1 blue, 3 mana, and you can pay 1 and tap it. Each player discards their hand and draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards discarded this way.
Yeah.
So it's that. I guess that could help someone, but it could not in the same
If
way.
you
Like
wanna see-
discarding.
If you want to see Jack's full deck list and see some of the other cards he ran, You can look on MTG Goldfish for our decks or in the link in the description for a full deck list.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Okay, so on to Evan.
Yeah.
Okay, so Evan, who'd you build?
Yeah, so I made a commander that is not technically released yet, but it has been spoiled, so I decided it was okay to build it. So
From
I made,
Arcoria.
yeah, I made Xyrus the Writhing Storm. The first is like Xyris, so I don't know really how to say that. It's a hard name, but it's 5 mana, 2 and Teamer, so green, blue, red. For a legendary creature, Snake Leviathan, it's a 5/3. It's a 3/5 with flying, and whenever an opponent draws a card, except for the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, create a 1/1 green snake creature token. So immediately when I saw that, I'm like, group hug, because you're making everyone do stuff. Everyone's drawing cards. So I just decided to make that because that seems really good. But there's also a bonus. That is, when Xyrus the Writhing Storm deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each draw that many cards. So it's a 3/3. So if it's just straight up, you draw 3 and they draw 3, they take 3 damage. And it's also a flyer, so if no one is gonna agree with you to draw 3 cards, which I don't really see why someone wouldn't want to draw 3 cards for 3 life. But if they wouldn't agree with you, you can just hit someone for flying damage. And so this deck, I made...
Not like Nekusar, but I feel like less aggressive, and
Yeah,
people are
less.
people are gonna like you
dangerous.
more. People aren't gonna hate you, and they're gonna like you. Like
It's also
Nekusar,
kind of cool.
like group hug, except people hate you because you're dealing damage. But
It's like
this
group
is
slug.
yeah, Nekusar's a group slug. This is a group hug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, I was saying this could also work as a wheels deck, and there are some wheels in the deck just because wheels are so powerful, but I based it more around the group hug side than the wheel side. I think it would be a good politics deck, and I mean, like group hug decks, like everyone is going to be so good that you need a payoff or sneaky way to kill people out of nowhere, or else they're just going to overpower you with their crazy decks sped up. So, starting with the cards that let everybody draw things, we have Dedicate of Crufix, which is 2/1 blue for an enchantment. It's from C18, and it has flash. And at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. So it's just every player draws 2 on their draw step, and every time they draw their second one, then you get a 1/1. So
Yeah, that seems cool.
It's
good because you can like just always be able to make a 1/1 on every turn, and it's also like kind of low profile. Like making 1/1 every turn, nobody's like, oh man, we gotta deal with him. They're more like, oh hey, I'm drawing cards, and oh maybe he makes a snake along the way, but who really cares now? So that seems kind of like low profile, but still like incidentally powerful too. So
Evan, I have one question. Do the snakes and the 1/1s, do they have flying?
No, the snakes, they're 1/1 snakes, and they do not have flying.
Okay. Well,
okay.
I mean,
do they have death touch though?
No, they don't have death touch. It's just a normal snake.
Okay.
A flying snake would be a fun archetype, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Ikoria kind of went crazy with the creature types anyway. What is the creature type for your commander?
Well, yeah, as I said earlier, it's a snake leviathan.
Yeah, see, that's already kind of crazy. You have like elemental otter.
So,
anyway.
So, Dedicate of Crufix, it's an enchantment, so it's harder to kill. And an interesting thing is you can play it on the end step of the opponent right before you, so you get the first draw with it, which will just give you a little added boost. So I also have a creature version of this, which is Kami of the Crescent Moon, which is blue for legendary creature spirit. It's a 1/3, And at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card.
Yeah.
Jack mentioned that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack had one.
I'm writing that one too. It's good in a group hug deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, it's the
Yeah,
same thing
It's
as
especially
dedicated
good
crew fix, just a creature.
and it's especially good for your deck though, since you're getting benefits off the cards, not just group hug.
Yes. So this is like probably my best card. It's definitely a spotlight card. It's called Teferi's Puzzle Box. It's 4 mana for an artifact. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player puts the top card of his or her puts the cards in his or her hand on the bottom of his or her library in any order, then draws that many cards.
Wait,
And
so
then
basically
there's a little bit of added text that says that player draws his or her card for the turn first. So you draw your card, and then you take that card along with everything you already had, put it on the bottom, and draw that many cards. So
That seems good,
every
but
single card you
also,
draw.
yeah, that seems
wait,
great.
so like
but also a
opponents
huge target.
Wait, so opponents only have
Yeah.
one full turn rotation with their hand before they discard it again?
Yeah.
Wow, that's good, but like Finn said, it also makes you kind of a big target. But it's really good
Not
for your
It's
deck.
good late game because like
It's not
group
totally
hug decks
group.
don't want to like always bow down to their opponents and do everything for them. So eventually they gotta play a bomb.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's kind of group hug because like the thing is about this deck, it's not the typical group hug where I'm nice to everyone. Because like it says literally on EDH Rec that group hug is literally everybody effects that affect everybody. That's like what it says as the archetype on EDH Rec. So it's still some group hug because it's affecting everyone. But anyway, also their hands are probably going to be pretty full because you've been jamming them with cards all game. So they're probably going to be drawing like 7, maybe even 8 if they had 7 in their hand before. So that like one turn rotation with that, you get a whole bunch of snakes. And then another wheel card is Jace's Archivist, which is 1 and a blue, and you can pay 1 and tap it. Jack already mentioned this card. And each player discards his or her hand, then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way. And it's a 2/2. So it's like also a little bit nicer to your opponents because like it's the greatest number, so no matter what, they're not going to be losing any cards. And most of the time they're going to go up based on who has the most cards. So, and that's just like if you tap that once, that's 21 1/1s if someone has 7. So that's really good.
Yeah, that's just a great card in any wheels deck.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and
seems cool.
Yeah. And then we also have, now we're getting into some things that help you by yourself a little bit more than don't really affect everybody because you kind of need things like this to finish off the game. So you have the Locust God is the first one, which is 4, a blue, and a red for legendary creature God. It's a 4/4 flying. Whenever you draw a card, create a 1/1 blue and red insect creature token with flying and haste. And then you can pay 2, a blue and a red, to draw a card and then discard a card. And because it's one of the gods, it says when the Locust God dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So you're essentially always
so powerful.
Yeah, so you're always going to have this, and then it's also like it's not exactly a double of Xyrus because you're drawing on your draw step, but you're going to be drawing a lot of cards because everyone's drawing more cards, so it'll just allow you to get more tokens out. And then the next card we have is, I think Caleb already mentioned it, but it's kind of going to be important because you kind of have only 1/1s mostly. So this card is Propaganda. It's 2 and a blue for an enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. And it's kind of like a group hug staple because even people are going to get such good things with their turns accelerated so fast that it's good to kind of have this wall that you're like, no, you can't do that to me.
I wouldn't call it a group hug staple. I'd just call it an EDH staple, because not just group hug decks run it. Basically everything runs it.
Yeah, it's great in anything. I mean, like, it's just a great 3-mana enchantment, and it gives you a good measure of protection. And it's just really good, too, in a group hug deck, because people's hands are going to be full, and they're going to be a lot more explosive than they would in a normal game. So you definitely want that protection. And it also just got reprinted, so it's cheap now. So pick one up if you need it, because it's
same with the Locust God. It also got
$12.
reprinted.
Yeah, well, it's coming out. It hasn't gotten reprinted yet.
Yes. Okay, so now we're into like your token payoffs, because you're gonna have lots of tokens. But how are you gonna get that final damage in? How are you gonna sneak the win? Because everyone's gonna be so powerful that you usually won't be able to just attack with your 1/1s. So some of the best payoffs are Craterhoof Behemoth, which is 5 green for a creature beast with haste. And when Craterhoof enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample and get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. And it's a 5/5. So this is like crazy in this deck, because you have you're going to get so many creatures just every turn. Like, once you pass your turn, by the time it gets back to you, you're usually going to have like 3 more if you have a Dedicative Crucifix, for example. And not to mention, this gives trample. So there's really nothing you can go wrong with getting a bunch of, say, 15, 21 creatures with trample. The only downside is that Craterhoof is a bit expensive, so you might not be able to get it in your budget, but that's okay, because if you can, it's still amazing.
It's like the best green card in Commander, I'd say.
The best green win condition, probably.
Yeah.
And then my last card is like a spotlight card, and it's really a cheap budget win con for this deck. It's called Impact Tremors. It's 1 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Tremors deals 1 damage to each opponent. So this ticks everyone down, and basically you wouldn't really want to play this card. Like, you're trying to keep everyone on your side, so you wouldn't really want to play this card until you know you're gonna like win. So like maybe they've hit
just
each
like
other.
drop it before a wheel.
Yeah, and then you just like Impact Tremors, and then just like tap your Jace's Archivist, and everyone takes 21 damage. Or you play, there's some other cards that like let everyone draw a whole bunch of cards, like not even with discarding. So you do those, and then everyone's down 21 damage, which like might be enough to just close out the game and win the game. So this one isn't quite as like group huggy, but it's definitely partially group hug, and it's just, I feel like, quite a really powerful, and I really didn't see anything that I thought was interesting from like the group huggist stuff. It all seemed a bit boring, so I just decided to make this. Yeah. So I think that's it for me.
Yeah, it seems like an interesting deck. I definitely want to make that deck in real life. Maybe not group hug, but
It seems like a really powerful deck.
It's a lot like Nekisar.
Yeah, but
it seems less group hug than the other decks have been.
Yeah, but in some ways it can be better than Nekisar, because Nekisar, it's doing damage, but this one you can get creature tokens along with doing damage. But
I'd say Nekisar is still a bit better.
Yeah, but in some ways it's better, but some ways it's not. It's an interesting commander, and it's good. I like it.
Okay, so for my deck, it kind of went a little bit off the beaten track. With my deck, I used EDH Rec for part of it, but what I saw on EDH Rec, I was a little disappointed with my commander, because it just seemed like it didn't really have a way to win. So I certainly fixed that problem, as you will soon find out. So yeah, the commander I built is Selvala, Explorer Returned. It's the green-white one. 1 green-white for a legendary creature, Elf Scout. It's got Parley, which is a mechanic. It's you can tap it, and each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, add green to your mana pool, and you gain 1 life. Then each player draws a card. So as you can see, the obvious group hug synergies in there, making people draw cards, and you can also ramp yourself and gain some life, which is just an extra good payoff. So what my deck's going to do, I kind of have different phases, kind of like Kale did. So early game, I have a bunch of those cards. I found a bunch of good cards that give people lands, like they're cheap, and they makes everyone to be able to play extra lands. And also I have like just the some of the general good group hug cards that kind of not make me the target, also sort of protect me. And there's a lot of like cheap, just good ramp stuff that ramps everyone. So just kind of want to give a bunch of mana to everyone. But then later game, I want to play some huge and like once everybody, I kind of develop some trust with everybody. I just play like some huge creatures, and kind of destroy what they've built up with board wipes and creatures and stuff like that, and make sure that they can't recover, and maybe some like destroy some of their lands or something. And then I just win the game with those cards. And some other like little strategies of the deck is there's some land synergy. There's also some. Oh, I already mentioned that there's some stuff that prevents people from attacking you. So I'm gonna jump right into my stuff. It's 2 and a green for an enchantment, and it says whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 mana of that type to his or her mana pool. So it just doubles your land, how much your land's tapped for. So that's pretty cool, and it's only 3 mana, which is why it really accelerates people's games. So that people are going to be dropping big stuff with that. And another card that's just great with Selvala, like any way you build it. And I have actually seen this card like pop up a lot in my deck building recently, and it's actually like one of my favorite cards now. It's Sword of the Paruns. So it's 4 colorless mana for an artifact equipment, and as long as equipped creature is tapped, tap creatures you control get ++0. So little anthem effect. And as long as equipped creature is untapped, untapped creatures you control get +0/+2. So that's got some versatility, not as much in this deck, but still pretty good. And we're obviously looking to tap Selvala a lot. And then it's got equip 3, and you can pay 3 mana, and you may tap or untap the equipped creature. So Selvala has a cool ability because you can tap for potentially 4 mana. It depends on if people reveal lands on the top or non-land cards. So I say it's a pretty good chance that we're gonna, because it's usually over half somebody's deck is non-land cards. So usually I think we're gonna get 3 mana or more. So we'll be able to untap her and do it again, and so you can gain a bunch of life, draw some cards with that, make a bunch of mana with that. So that seems pretty cool. With Sword of the Paruns. And then one of these cards that go ahead.
So do you have any ways to like stack the top of opponents' decks for anything? Like, just wondering, because that could be really interesting with that.
No, I couldn't really find any effects in green-white. I know there's some stuff that searches people's libraries, like what's that one? Like Death's Finale or something. I don't know. We'll put it up in the video version.
Finn.
Yeah.
Sword of the Paruns. It's good, but like it's not like one of your. It's really good, but it doesn't seem like it's like really good in that deck.
What do you mean?
Like it's not. Never mind, but it just doesn't seem like super.
Well, you can gain a ton of life with it and draw a bunch of cards because you can untap her like until you don't get 3 mana. And even if you only get 1 or 2 mana off Selvala, you can always pay some of your own mana on Tapper too. So
I
you
guess
can kinda
that's true.
get like
Yeah.
4 or 5 activations in one turn if you're fortunate.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah.
So my next spotlight card kind of embraces the big bombs I want to drop and kind of helps finish out the game and prevent opponents from abusing too much of what I've given them in the early game. So it's Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, 6 green for your legendary creature Praetor. It's got Trample. It's a 7/6. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced. So that's already a good like mana doubler. Then it says whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So that's just absolutely nasty. When you play them out, obviously 8 mana is not going to be too hard to get to with like Heartbeat of Spring and some of those other mana doublers that are cheap. And then, just makes your opponent's like lands so hard to use and effectively just shuts down what we've given them. So I'm trying to go quick here. So some of the other cards that are good in the deck is Seaborn Muse, 3 green, 2/4. Spirit, untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. Pretty common one. That's cool because we can activate Selvala on every turn, and we might not use the mana, but I'm sure people will appreciate the cards, and we're going to gain life too, which we have ways of using later on. Another good card to give some people resources in the beginning is Collective Voyage. So it's 1 green mana for a sorcery. It's got Join Forces. Starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player searches his or her library for X basic lands, where X is the total amount of mana paid this way, puts them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffles his or her library. So this potentially, like, play it maybe turn 4. People have, like, 3 or 4 mana. You could potentially, if people, like, really want the lands, you could search up, I don't know, maybe, like, 10, 8 lands. That's crazy. And then you drop a Vorinclex next turn, and then everybody's, like, sad. So that's pretty cool. And then we got Terrastodon. This is kind of I wouldn't say staple, but it's used in a lot of decks. It's 6 green for a creature elephant. Enters battlefield. It's a 9/9. When it enters battlefield, you can destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents. For each permanent put into the graveyard this way, controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. So this one's good. It's also a lot of mana, but like I said, that's not gonna be too much of a problem for us. And we're gonna be destroying their stuff. They're like, if they have good stuff, then we can destroy that, or if we can destroy some of their lands if they have like a bunch of mana. And they're also getting beasts, which I guess doesn't really matter to us. And then another good card that kind of shows off what this deck does to protect. I have all the usual protection stuff like, Ghostly Prison and Norn's Annex and all that stuff. But this one I put in there, it's kind of expensive, but it's an interesting one. It's Ensnaring Bridge, so it's 3 mana for an artifact. It says creatures with power greater than the number of cards in your hand can't attack. So that seems good because we're kind of just locking down the board. It does prevent your creatures from attacking, but I think it's more important that we just stop our opponent's creatures from attacking because we have other ways to win, and we can also like sacrifice it if we really need to go win. And then our last card, because Selvala does gain life when you reveal non-land cards with her. We have the best life gain payoff, I'd say, in Magic. It's Aetherflux Reservoir. So it's 4 mana artifact. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. So that can be used sometimes because we're going to be making a lot of mana. And if there's some small spells we can chain together, you can gain some life with that. But the main thing is you can pay 50 life, and Aetherflux Reservoir deals 50 damage to target creature or player. So that's pretty much game if you are able to activate that. So that just seems great. It's a great life gain payoff, especially for activating Selvala like a bunch of times each turn.
Well,
So, yeah.
Imagine if Hatu the Savior was in a real card. Imagine that in Selvala.
Yeah, that
If
would
you
be
don't
great.
know what that is, check out episode 1.
Yeah, it's right on the
Yeah,
front of the episode.
it was my custom card. So the thing about the big laser is that it only does one
The Death Star
person, so
laser.
you kind of have to gain a lot of life to.
Yeah, that
kill
and it also makes a
everyone
huge
with
target
that.
too when you drop it. But it is
Yeah.
good, and it's also just useful.
It is good.
If you know your opponents don't have like a whatever Croson grip, which has got split second,
Mhm.
you can kind of just hold the
Yeah, exactly.
Reflux Reservoir over your head if you got over 50, and then like nobody can touch you. It's like, or else, oh, you're dead, instant speed. So that seems pretty cool. That's just a great way to use that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's it for my deck. Kind of went off the beaten
Yeah.
path. I didn't really use EDH Rec that much. I used it for like some of the group hug cards, but I kind of went on my own for the finishers and stuff. I was a little bit disappointed because I didn't find EDH Rec that useful here, because what I saw from it was just kind of like I didn't really find any like win conditions on the EDH Rec page. So I kind of just did it my own way. So yeah, that's my deck.
I mean, Finn, I kind of think you trying to read your brain here kind of felt the same way as me, that like group hug is fine, but it just kind of has trouble finding a good like group huggy way to win, because like Warren Clax is like the most ungroup hug you can get, and like the same kind of thing where like the start is group hug, but it's just kind of hard for group hug to win, so you kind of have to go off a little into different territory to really make a powerful enough tech to get wins, you know?
Yeah. I definitely noticed that.
So are we on?
Yeah, the custom cards next. That's it for our deck tech. So
we
yeah.
got to vote.
Oh shoot, yeah, I forgot. Completely forgot.
Yeah.
About that. So
You need to vote.
Caleb, you want to vote first?
I feel like every deck this week was less powerful than all the decks on the other episodes. I just don't feel like group hug's such a great strategy. But if I were to choose one, I think I might have to go with Jack. I feel like the things you can do with Zedru are like very, very good, and I feel like they might be less limited to what Selvala can do. And it seems like giving other people your permanents is fun, and then the payoffs you can get from it seems really cool. So I'll have to go with Jack.
I guess I'm next. I have got to go with Caleb. Just the power level of his deck. The ability to get people really happy. I mean, it's like kind of the point of group hug. Like to get people really happy, make them get all their like huge creatures and bombs, and then just to gain control of all of them and win the game. It's just a really powerful ability to do that, rather than like slowly build them up. You're kind of giving them a fast way to get all their stuff out, and then you can just gain control of all of it with the cards that you mentioned. It's just a really powerful deck itself, and the way that you found to like build a wall up against their stuff so they can't like get you once they've gotten their stuff out before you can gain control of it. It's just a really powerful ability, and I think it's
So Evan, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a tough one for me, because like as Caleb said, I feel like group hug just isn't that powerful in general. Like the way that you make group hug more powerful is politics. So I don't know, but I think I'm gonna go Finn, because like it's less group huggy, but I think it gives it that advantage of having win cons that can really win the game. Like, I mean, both the other two decks, I mean, they have win cons. I just don't feel like they're as powerful as what Finn can do. So I'm going with Finn.
The Finn now.
Okay, for me, as far as power level, I think Jax is pretty powerful, and it just seems pretty slow. Caleb's seems powerful, but also a tiny bit fragile because your commander is kind of the only thing stopping you. Because I feel like if you gain control of a creature, and then everybody's like, "Hey, that's not very nice," and all the stuff you gave us was just to take our creature. And then somebody removes the creature, and then everybody's against you now. So I have to go with Evan, just because it may not be like the most like group hug oriented deck, but it just seems so incidentally powerful and enough group hugs. So I have to go with Evan, which means
What a coincidence! Everyone got one
four-way
vote
tie
for the first time on our channel. So we got to decide what to do. Do we do?
I think everyone gets a point.
Yeah,
everyone gets a point. Sure. Okay.
How am I going to edit this?
You'll figure it out. You're smart.
Yeah, I will. You'll
so
see
now for voting on the.
So should we go the same order?
Creativity, yes. Creativity. My mind blanked for a second.
I think I'm gonna go with Evan. It's just like making a commander before it even comes out seems pretty cool, and it's not exactly group hug you would think of with that commander, and he was able to make it work. So I'm gonna go with Evan.
Once again, not once again, but I have to agree with Caleb on that. Evan, like, building the deck when it hasn't even come out is pretty cool itself, but also the way you built it. It may not be super group hug, but the way you built it to make it work, it's just really powerful and a unique commander. Whenever an opponent draws a card to make tokens, and the way you found it with like making those tokens but then dealing damage to them, so it's like kind of a win-win for you because you gain creatures and damage at the same time, so it's really good.
Okay, Evan.
Yeah, okay, so I think I'm gonna go with Caleb because, like, if you kind of like scroll through EDH Rec on the group hug page, you don't see his commander anywhere. And both Finn and Jax are on there, but they're not quite as powerful. I know Finn did a little bit of like not just tinkering with it, but I still think I gotta go Caleb because just the 4 steps he came up with were creative and interesting. Yeah,
I gotta go with that.
I couldn't find any Rubinia group hug decks.
Yeah, I also have to go with Caleb because, I mean, the commander's not even on the Steam page for EDH Rec. So that by itself is just a big challenge. Like, I at least got some guidance from EDH Rec, especially the group hug like stuff, but I have to imagine it's going to be kind of hard building around Rubinia when there's like no help at all from EDH Rec. So that seems like
tie.
a good challenge.
Yeah, that's a tie between Caleb
and Evan. 2 ties
in
one episode. So I guess me and Evan each
both
split the points there.
Wow, Evan up to 6 points.
So everybody got the points for power level, and me and Evan both got the points for creativity.
So I think that leaves Evan at 6 and me at 2. Caleb at 2,
4, right?
And I'm at 4, yep.
I'm at 2.
So, and I'm at 2 too. So 2 2s, 4, and a 6. Evan still taking the lead.
Okay, so
with
now
that, we're on to our custom cards section.
No, make or fake.
Oh yeah, make or fake.
Make or fake.
Wow, yeah. We totally forgot that.
Our minds are leaving our noggins today. Okay, so
I know, we're supposed to be the magic mind.
For me, it's completely fake. I'm not going to make a group hug deck. It's a bad strategy.
Whoa.
Okay, I guess that leaves me, and I completely agree. My deck was good, but I don't really like group hug. It's not very interesting to me. It's just not a good strategy. Like, I'd rather have a deck where I'm, like, on top and not giving other people stuff. Like, I'd rather be, like, keeping my own stuff, not giving other permanents to other people. I just wanted to make this deck because it was just the most interesting out of the decks that I could find, so it's the one that I made.
Okay, Evan?
Yep, and yeah, I'm fake too. I mean, I like the commander. It's just I would not build it as group hug. I would build it as wheels.
Yeah,
And
might be fun to build a wheels deck for that guy, but not group hug.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just group hug. Like, unless you're the person that loves politics and wants to just politic your way to victory, I don't recommend group hug.
Cough, cough,
That's
Finn.
my 5 cents.
I don't always politic. Like, come on, guys.
Really?
Here, I'll make you a deal. Don't tell anyone that I politic. And
Okay. Anyway, what your make or fake? Probably fake too. Or
yeah, I think you have to go with a fake. I mean, I like the commander, and it's an interesting one. But it's the decks. I had to put some expensive cards in there to make the deck good. You know, obviously, budget is a factor for me. And I don't think any of us like group hug. So, yeah, I just don't like it. So, yeah, that's it for our deck tech segment. Next up, we got our custom cards.
Okay, so we are on to our custom card segment. Last week, as we know, Finn won this point with the Barden Traveling Warlord. So if you haven't seen that, go watch episode 2. So today I made a commander, but it's kind of a different kind. It's called Rafa and Sura, the Grave Crypt. So it's 2 creatures in one, kind of. So it's 4 black-green for a 2/4 legendary creature, zombie golem. One of them's a zombie, one of them's a golem.
Oh, okay. I'm like, zombie golem. That's interesting. It sounds like Phyrexians meet Innistrad or something.
When Rafa and Sula enter the battlefield, create a 3/3 creature token named Sula and a 2/4 creature token named Rafa. Whenever a token creature named Rafa dies, destroy target creature. Whenever a token named Sula dies, each opponent loses 3 life. And you can pay 2 Phyrexian green, Phyrexian black, exile this creature, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control on your next end step. So
that seems cool.
It's like Blinky Aristocrats. I feel like it'd be a fun Aristocrats decks, is not other Aristocrat decks are like involving blinking and ETB effects into them. So it seems like a pretty fun commander to make.
Yeah, that seems kind of like a Stange, or I'm not sure how to say it. SSTANGG. It's like a tennis battlefield and makes a twin of itself. So that seems like a lot like your commander, but your commander is a lot more detailed. And I like the idea of having like 2 people that it's like one card, but they come out separately. So that's kind of cool. And I like the effect.
Yeah. And I like the addition to the commander, the addition of the blinking part, because it's like, I mean, it's good otherwise, but like the addition to that makes it like, when you like look at the commander, like you can make it a blink deck pretty easily, and it'd be a good blink deck.
Yeah, I feel like Aristocrats would be more the theme you would do with this, because you don't find many other blink cards in Golgari. But Aristocrats for this would be, I feel like, really fun, because the commander has blink built into it, where you can get Rafa and Sula back and then sack them with your sack outlet. blanket, and I feel like it's a fun value engine for an aristocrats commander. So, yeah, Jack, what's your
Okay.
card?
My card is Lixus the Reborn. It's 4 Fire Axion blue, Fire Axion red, so you can pay 2 life, or blue, and 2 life or red. And it's a 6/6 legendary creature, ancient crab. And it says other crab creatures you control get +1/+1. It has haste. Whenever this creature attacks, each other crab attacking gets +2/+2. So it's kind of a crab general tribal commander guy. I just wanted to make a tribal commander, and crab was the first thing that came to my mind, so that's what I did. So basically, you want to attack and kind of come out with cards, like come out with a bunch of attacking creatures and like pump them a bunch. So yeah, that's my card, and it's a 6/6.
Okay, Evan.
Yeah, so interestingly, I also have a legendary creature. Seems like we're all just in a mood to make some legends today. So mine is Haramuka Chaos Bringer. It's red, a black, and a hybrid red-black, so 3 mana in total, for legendary creature Worm, and it's a 3/2, and it has a lot of text. So the first line is, whenever any player casts a spell, plays a land, or activates an ability of a permanent, choose a player at random. That player takes 3 damage. And then there's also, if you would take damage, flip a coin. If heads, prevent that damage. If tails, you take 3 extra damage.
That
Whoa,
seems awesome.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just, I kind of just decided to make a commander where someone could build it, and then just a deck where they could just like kick back, relax, and let the chaos gods or whatever do their work. Gods of chaos. So yeah, I think that would just be fun. And then there's also like some things that you could do with it, some sneaky things like your life total can't change.
Yeah.
To make it so you aren't taking that 3 damage, but yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
is it whenever you cast a creature or whatever?
No, it's any player casts a spell, plays a creature, and activates an ability of a permanent. So it's essentially whenever anything happens, there's going to be damage flying around.
That seems
so
super
like
cool.
if they play a
That sounds like chaos.
if they do an activated ability, then they take 3 life, and then if you take life, then you flip. Okay, so if somebody takes life, you flip a coin. Just read me the card again.
Yeah, so okay, it's a bit confusing. So when any of those things are triggered, a random player takes 3 life, and only if you would take damage, you flip the coin, and if it's heads, prevent that damage. If it's tails, you take 3 extra.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Yeah. It seems like a really cool card.
Yeah, so Finn.
My card, wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, but a really good idea kind of came to me. So my card is Lord of Denial. It's not a legendary creature. It's 3 and a black for an artifact creature golem. It's one of those colored artifacts. It's a 2/3, and it says no more than 1 spell or ability can be on the stack at a time.
Ooh.
So it's kind of an interesting one. So at first glance, no more than 1 spell can be on the stack at a time. So that basically just means you can't counter spells and you can't play spells in response to spells. And the same for abilities. Somebody activates ability, you can't play spells to respond to it or activate abilities to respond to it. So it basically just gives everything that's played split second. So I just thought it'd be kind of interesting, and I thought it'd just be kind of a cool card, and I think it just really changes the game when you play it, and it slows everything down, makes everything a lot simpler, and sometimes it can help you, sometimes it'll hurt you. but it just seems like an intriguing card to me.
Yeah, that card would be pretty good in like a Kadena deck, or like stuff where like maybe you're like activating your like morphs or something.
Because
or
that's a special ability. It's not an
a lot
activated ability.
Yeah,
Oh
a
my
lot
gosh.
of abilities.
That's insane.
Then yeah, it'd be really good.
Yes, it's called a special action.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
More. That's a great point, Jack.
Yeah, that seems like an amazing standard sideboard card.
Mm-hmm. If you have like a Stompy deck, or I guess it's black, but you know, if you're not like
whatever.
really
if you're not playing control, it's a very good sideboard card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think that brings us to our voting, right? So we'll go in the same order. We have all video, so that's Caleb first.
I'm gonna go with Jack. Crowd Tribal seems absolutely epic.
Yeah.
Finn's card seemed really fun, and so did Evan's. But a very good set of cards this week. But I'm just gonna go with Crab Tribal. So Jack, I'm gonna give you my vote.
Okay, I guess that goes to me. Gotta say Evan. I think his card is really cool. The just ability, it's just an interesting card. I've never seen it before. Like flipping coins. When you get dealt damage, and it's just chaos around the board. I like it. It's cool.
Okay, Evan.
Yeah, so for me, it was another tough decision, and there were just a couple small factors that factored into my decision. So, for one, it was that there aren't really, it's like we're going off what's best for Magic, and I don't really think there's that many crabs in Magic. So, like, maybe you can make it with, like, changelings or something, but I'm not sure. And then I just like the thinking in Magic, like, just I like thinking a lot, and that Finn's card kind of slows down the thinking. So I just think I'm gonna go with Caleb's card because I think it's just really cool and fun.
As for me, okay, I thought Caleb's card was interesting. I thought it was pretty cool, but it's kind of what we've seen from Aristocrats. It's a little bit different, but it seems very powerful. And
I made it mostly because there aren't many. There are cards that are like blah blah and blah 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 blah. It's group hug, and we're doing group hug this week, and there's Daxos and Tira. But other than that, and like Pia and Kira, I can't think of any other things. So that's basically why I went with it.
Mm-hmm. And then Jack seems good, but like I said, I can't really think of that many crabs. It's not like we've been like begging for crab tribal, so I'm not sure Magic really needs a crab yet. Maybe like in a couple years when they print more crabs. We never know with like Korea because that set is like every creature type. But so that leaves Evans, and I think Evans is really cool. I love the way he designed it. It kind of like the both abilities relate really well to each other. I think it's a good Chaos Commander. I just think it's a well designed, and I think it'd be cool for Magic. And there's no real commander to helm Chaos decks besides the Norin, and Norin isn't exactly like too Chaos oriented. So
wait, isn't there the one that's like the partner that Finn? Isn't there the one that's the partner that like whenever you cast a spell, it deals damage to random player equal to the CMC?
Oh, there's Vial Smasher.
I forget what it's called, but
Vial
Smasher. We'll put it on the video. But yeah, so it's a little bit like that.
Wow, Evan taking another 0.7. I think he's at now.
Running away with it.
Yep.
Well,
I was last time, and you made a comeback, so you never really know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
but
now I'm 3 points behind again.
Yeah.
Okay, so pack opening. Let's crack some pack.
Same order.
Straight into it.
I think same order, I believe.
Okay, I'll
Yep.
crack this Ravnica Allegiance pack. Okay. So, like last time, we're skipping the commons. Just a note, I got another persistent petitioners.
We're not counting it.
Rally to Battle, Cry of the Carnium, Gate
That's
of
a good
Lid.
one.
And my rare is Mirror March. It is
Ooh.
5 in a red. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, flip a coin until you lose a flip. For each flip you won, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Those tokens gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. And then I have a foil Fairy Duelist. And yeah. So Finn, prices for
it's 45 cents.
It's not bad. Like, that could
Yeah.
win it, because
That
last week
actually could win it.
27
seems like
won.
a pretty fun chaos card.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that leaves it to me. I'm gonna pack. These ones are harder to open. Okay, yeah. Okay. Uncommon, we have True Fire Captain and Plague Crafter and Gird for Battle. Ooh! We have Vraska Golgari Queen. It's a Planeswalker.
Oh, sweet.
It's 2 black-green for a legendary Planeswalker, Vraska. Starting loyalty is 4. And it's +2. You may sacrifice another permanent. If you do, you gain 1 life and draw a card. And then it's -3. Destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. And then -9. You get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. And then a Golgari Guild.
That might be worth something.
Yep, it's $3.59.
Oof. So
Ooh.
far, that's the most we've had on one of these pack openings.
Okay, so Evan,
That'll
you're
change,
next up.
So,
With Throne of Eldraine.
Yep. Got it open. Nice and smooth. Straight into the uncommons. So the first one, we have Marleaf Pixie. And then we have Spinning Wheel. And then we have Frogify. And my rare is Witch's Vengeance, which is 1 black for sorcery. Creatures of the creature type of your choice get -3/-3 until end of turn. And it's a sorcery.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was kind of a miss with
And look at that. Yes, but I got a foil rare. So
you did?
it's for a blue and a black.
What's
for
the name?
A Lochmer Serpent. And it's a creature serpent with flash. And you can pay 1 and sacrifice an island. And Lochmer Serpent can't be blocked this turn. That's for 1 blue. You can pay 1 black and sacrifice a swamp. You gain 1 life and draw a card. And you can pay a swamp and an island to exile 5 target cards from an opponent's graveyard, and then return Lochmer Serpent from your graveyard to your hand. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. And it's a 7/7. And it has flash.
I'm sorry.
So
Okay, so the first one, the Witch's Vengeance, was 17 cents, and the foil Lochmer Serpent was 21 cents. So total, that would be 38 cents. So you're
whatever.
I mean, Caleb. Yeah,
It's a cool card though.
Foil. That's cool. So my pack, War the Spark.
See if you can beat out Jack.
Oh man, these packs are always so hard to open. There we go. Okay. Straight to the uncommons. First one, we have Rubble Belt Riders, then Challenger Troll, then our Planeswalkers Jiang, Yanggu, Wildcrafter. That's like the +1 counter synergy one. And then our rare is Time Wipe. It's a cool board wipe. It's 2 white, blue return a creature. It's a sorcery. Return a creature you control to its owner's hand, then destroy all creatures. I like that one. I'm gonna look up the price real quick. Time white. Oh man, that's only 30 cents. So I think Caleb comes away with the win here. No, Jack
No.
does. Sorry. Yeah, Jack. Sorry, I got you guys mixed up. So Jack gets a point there with his Vraska. That's pretty cool. So I believe that's the end of our episode. So I'm just gonna review the points real quick. So, with the deck techs, for power level, we all tied. We couldn't make up our minds. It's the first time it's happened on our podcast before. So we each got a point for that. Then for the uniqueness, I believe Evan and Caleb tied. So they each got a point for that. And then custom cards, Evan won with the Chaos Commander. And then for packs, Jack won with the Vraska. So the final points are I have 4 points, Jack has 3 points, Caleb has 2 points, and Evan has 7 points. So Evan
okay.
still in the lead.
Yep. I'm in the lead, but you know what time it is? It's time to spin
Spin
our wheel
that
for next
wheel.
episode.
Yeah.
Okay, Caleb, you got it?
Let's spin
We're going to
this
spin that wheel.
Yeah, let's spin this wheel.
Okay. It's spinning. Let's see what we land on.
Fingers crossed, something good.
-1 counters.
Yes.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes.
That's gonna be interesting.
I call
This is
Scorpion
good.
God.
Ah, dang it.
Yeah, that seems cool.
I call Hepatra.
Anyway, you guys, no spoilers, no spoilers. Okay, and with that, we have our next episode, and it's to the outro. So thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and keep magic on your mind. See ya.
And stay safe.